I am live. All right. Get things set up here just a little different. How am I looking? Looking? Yeah, right? All right. Hey, if you are wandering the internet and bump across this video, you should know it is a live broadcast of our daily lesson from jollyrogerukulele.com. And you will need to go to jollyrogerukulele.com for any of this to make any sense, because that's where all of our sheet music and lessons and plan are all put together on that one page there. So that's what you want to do. Go run over there and take a gander. Link to right now I'm posting on that site. Link to join. Command V, enter. So it takes a little while for everybody to log in to join this video. So if you are just happening by, you probably fast forward at least 5 minutes before the actual lesson begins. Today we're going to do the Simon and Garfunkel tune Feelin Groovy, and then we're also going to learn about arpeggio picking as always. And so I will be loading that in. Hopefully here in the next minute or two, we'll get a few people in who say the sound is good, and because that's always our big issue, is whether or not, because I can't hear whether the microphone system is working properly. We've worked out so many bugs on it that I think I have finally managed to have a system in place where it no longer makes terrible sound. Sandy is telling me right now, sound is good. That's awesome. Okay, glad you're here, Sandy. Thanks. Yes, Lynn and Sandy agree the sound is fine. So we are always dodging that bullet each morning, trying like heck not to have that be a problem. Let's get my tin whistle stuff up out of the way. I don't know. I got this tin whistle 20 years ago, and I was wandering Amazon the other day. I don't remember what I was looking for. And there was a book pops right up because they know me, right? Amazon knows me. They're like, oh, that's the guy who likes weird instruments. Here, have a tin whistle book. So I got it. Let's see. Pauline, I'm tuning in and all sounds good. Pauline says we're good too. And Pauline knows. So there we go. We're all set. Hey, Red, how's your eyeballs? Your voice is a... I'm going to start working on having a more resonant and deep voice. Do you think that I would sound more convincing and authoritative? Would I sound like I know what I'm talking about if I speak more manly? More, is that manly? More with more depth? Hey, Kate, welcome in. Gail, got your email today, and I wrote back. I said, you're right. I don't know. I don't think I had anything. I think I wandered around a little bit too much last night. I will explain today. Lots of people who were there last night will be in today, and we'll talk. Hey, Mike, welcome in. Lindy, afternoon. Sounds good. Gary H. and Gary and Diane. Gary and Diane. How am I going to remember Gary and Diane? Because Gary, I remember. Gary's pretty straightforward. I'm a Gary, and we stick together. As Gary said, it means a warrior in Anglo-Saxon. We were the guys who ran at you with a spear. That's what Gary means, apparently. Let's see. Linda is here. Linda Linda Harrison. I think we decided Linda Harrison was number 1 and Linda Schmidt is number 2. And Linda from Sonoma is number 3. I think that's the plan. Hey, Carol, welcome in from the hills. Evelyn. Oh, good, Evelyn. Evelyn says she was inspired by my finger picking on Can't Help Falling in Love. I think, to be 1,000% honest, you could take that song and work on nothing but that song for about a month. And if you could talk yourself into figuring out how exactly what I was doing there, I think you would have no need for any other ukulele education whatsoever. Honestly, I mean, you can take a chord, hold on to it, play the chord, manage to get in some extra beauty into the thing. I think hopefully Evelyn, it meant something to more than just you. It really is an absolutely beautiful way to play, and you can pick super slow, lovely, romantic songs and do that too, and people will just be mesmerized, and they will have you come over. They will pay you to come and give them concerts. So good. That's delightful, Evelyn. I'm really glad you thought that. Patty and Tom are in from beautiful West Denver. Terry, Terry's in from the Mile High City. That's Denver. That's us. Let's see. Renee's in from Lakewood. Lanny's in from Greeley. Phyllis is in from Ontario, Canada. That's always exciting, right? We got last night we had Canada, Ecuador, Australia. I think that's who everybody, the non-Americans that were in last night. We got to work on those Europeans. What the heck? 7 o'clock at 7 o'clock in our time. Oh, that's 2 o'clock there in the morning their time. That's not good. Yeah. So let's work on the Australians. This time slot is perfect for the Europeans. This 1 o'clock time slot is right after dinner for those guys. So if you know anybody in Europe, call them up and say, dude, get on the ukulele and get online. This guy, he talks too much, but he's making me a better ukulele player. That's what my hope is. Brandon, aloha. Let's see. Jacqueline. Hello, Jacqueline. Fran, happy Tuesday. Let's see. Kat, hey Gary, I accidentally missed last night. Kat, how is that even possible? There should be a giant thing in your phone that just pops up about an hour before. It's like you have nothing more important to do than go to Summer Institute. It's a global institute. It's not even a summer institute. It's a winter institute for some people. It's a summer institute for other people. On Mars, it's a spring institute. It's a big deal. How could you have missed it? What does she say? Was up late the night before working on a project and you fell asleep. Going to watch recordings this afternoon. You know what I do? Here's what I do. I go and I sit down at night and I feel like I'm supposed to watch the evening news. So I go watch the evening news. The only thing I really care about, this is the old man in me. I care about the weather. Now you can check the weather on this thing any moment of any day, but I still feel like I need to watch the weather. So I sit down and usually around 10 o'clock, I want to, see the top stories, which these days is this terrible thing, and that terrible thing. Here's the weather. And there's no sports anymore, so there's no point in watching after the weather. And normally that's what I like to do. The problem with that is if you've had a long day, you suddenly wake up during the second Seinfeld that comes 2 hours or an hour after that. So you sit down, you're like, I'm going to watch the weather. And then you wake up an hour later with Seinfeld on. So so Kat, I get it. I'm on board with you. Let's see, Barbara. Hey, Barbara. Karen F. Good day. Good day. That's Americans. That's what we know about Australia. They say good day, and there's kangaroos. That's our complete knowledge of Australia. Guys, I'm going to open the window up real quick. It suddenly got super hot. We have swamp cooler here, and the swamp coolers turn off, and then the room gets super, super hot. So we're going to do that. Grab your key of C arpeggio. That's what we're going to start on today. I do need to let you know that my thingamabop. See, here's the problem with these thingamabobs. I got this fancy iPad type thing, and it works. When it works great, it's absolutely wonderful. The problem is we don't have Wi-Fi in here today, so I haven't been able to download the song for today, Feelin Groovy. So I'm going to have this weird situation where I could print it out. I have the ability to print things now. Hold on. This is very exciting. Let me go to Google Drive, Ukulele, Simon & Garfunkel, Feelin Groovy. There's a PDF I gave to you guys. Pull that up. I can even print it now. I am so high-tech around here. All right, printer, not two-sided, print. Have you guys figured out, as you're setting your books up, that the business of getting things single-sided and double-sided is kind of a nightmare? It's one of those things where you just don't ever seem to be able to get it quite the way you want it. And just to let you know, that doesn't ever change. So grab your key of C Major Arpeggio. We'll run through the basics of that, make sure everybody, even the new people, are on board. And then we'll talk about Simon & Garfunkel. All right, that will get us some air in here, and then I'll be less sweaty. All right, so I told Red I was going to try to speak more authoritatively, so that's my plan today. All right, key of C major. That's what we're working on today. Hey, Jano, welcome in. 94 degrees in Waco, Texas. We're going to be 95 degrees here in Denver, so I think we got Texas beat for once. Let's see. All right. I need a ukulele. Here it goes. We're going to be talking about arpeggio picking for a little bit here before we move on to the main song, which is Feelin Groovy. Arpeggio picking, as you guys probably have figured out, is one of the things that I think will make you a much better sounding player without actually knowing that much more about ukulele. And so when we are when we are working on getting better, when we're trying to find ways to get better quick, right? Because we want to play like Jake, and you're never going to play like Jake. So take that out of your mind. What we are trying to do is find skills and sets that we can just take what we know and add on to it. So today on the key of C major, we have 5 chords. Okay. First one, C chord. Okay. Hopefully that one's part of who you are. Next chord is we're going to do is I'm not going to do them in order of the paper yet. We're going to need to know the F chord. Okay, index and middle. Okay. Next chord we're going to need to know is a G chord. That's the tough one when you first get started. Index on top, middle on the bottom, ring out front. Okay. And those of you who are teachers, don't start with key of C, because then you have to teach G, and it's just a misery for 20-30 minutes in a class. You don't want to get there. Start with the key of A, which leads to D, which leads to E7. Go grab that little kids book with all of the kid songs in there, and they're not all kid songs, but that's what I call it. You want to get them teaching out, because once they can do that key of A, then all of a sudden C, F, and G starts to make a little more sense. So don't start with the key of C if you're a teacher. That's a recipe for disaster. I used to do it all the time, and it's a bad idea. Okay, the other chord, there's 2 other chords in this song. One is the G7. Now notice you've got your G chord. Let me see if I can get some decent lighting on you. Okay, here's the G chord. And then the G7 is basically, it feels backwards, right? Index finger here, middle and ring, but it's quite a bit easier to do. And notice this sound. G chord is very stable. It's a major chord, right? Just nice and pleasant. You would go out on a date with that chord. It's just very reliable, very authoritative, right? It's going to get a good job down the road. Okay. G7 is a different animal altogether. Okay. That chord is going to cause trouble in your life. That's the drama queen of your life. Any of you guys got those in your lives? Let's get some light on. All right, and so 7th chords sound nervous. Major chords sound very solid. Okay, the other chord in this song is an A minor chord. Right there. When you first start, you can do yourself a favor, grab whatever piece of music you're going to do, and before you do anything, go through and figure out how to get from chord to chord. So in this piece of music sitting in front of you, we'll just do the first 8 measures. You're going to go from C, then you got to get to a G. So index finger down first, and then the other 2 fingers will behave. Going from G to F, index finger first, middle finger up, lose your ring finger, and then back to G. Again, index finger first, the other 2 jump on. Okay? So that business, you can do yourself a huge favor by just going through, thinking about, all right, I gotta get from this chord to that chord. How am I going to do that? And talk your fingers into doing it well at a slow rate of pace, so that when you start to speed up, they will have memorized good behavior. What we have a tendency to do is grab the song, we start playing, and then we're like, oh crud, what's that song? What's that chord or whatever? And then we spend all this time trying to desperately get the chord on in time, teaching our fingers all kinds of bad habits. And that's not ideal. What we want to do is just before you begin a song, think about, I'm going to go from this chord to this chord to this chord to this chord to that chord, blah, 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 blah. And those places where there's going to be a problem, sit and study those. And if you are having a hard time getting from F to G, you stop. Pay attention. Index finger up while the middle finger's moving out of the way. Bam, bam, bam. That's how I'm going to do that every time. Okay, and then once your fingers know this is how we're going to do that every single time, they start to behave. They get a little bit more cooperative. And in the beginning, getting a G chord on is quite challenging. Okay, next part of this piece of music that we're going to be working on is this band. This is what most ukulele players that I run into in the real world, they don't understand what to do with this hand. And this is the hand where the music comes from. Okay. You get where you're like, okay, I put dot, dot, dot. I know what I'm doing over here. And then, and we just don't get good training on what we do with this hand. And that's why arpeggios are very, very important, because if you watch advanced players, that's what they're doing, is they're doing stuff with this hand, and they're doing all manner of cool stuff. And you need to start, obviously we start with thumb, and then we might mix in your index finger, but then we got to get these guys under control. And on this particular piece of music, you're only going to use the first page of this music anyway. You're only going to use these bottom three strings. So let's put a thumb on the top of the C string. Let's put this index finger right underneath the E string, and this middle finger right underneath the A string. And then let's put them at a bit of an angle so they have room to work. Thumb's got some room to come down. Index finger has room to come up. Middle finger has room to come up. Okay. So, and then they can work at the same time. This is highly, highly, highly helpful in making you sound great, because you're still going to have just a plain old regular chord over here, but instead of that all the time, you're going to be able to do pluck them. You're going to be able to do this. Right? So we got a lot of options when we get this hand where he can do different things. It's also when you buy your ukulele kit from Amazon, it comes with the world's cheapest tuner that I tell you to throw away and get a better tuner, and it comes with a pick, right? And so you throw the pick away because there's no way to use a pick and play multiple strings at the same time. And I get a lot of people like, well, but it came with my ukulele. Won't I need it at some point? You will never need a pick, ever, 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 ever. Okay. If you get an electric ukulele and you want to play Wipeout, you can use a pick on that. Okay. Other than that, there's no point in it. Okay. And you see it all the time on YouTube. All right. Now, what we want to do with this song, the first 8 measures are basically identical. We are going to do thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. The only thing you're going to do is change the chord. Okay, so let's get the C chord on. We'll do measure 1 just by itself. Measure 1 says 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0. Okay, that's all we're going to do. And for the first 8 measures, it's all the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you were counting it like a musician, you would say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. As ukulele players, we're thinking 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0. If you're thinking of it, hey, I took piano lessons, I want to know how the standard sheet music goes. C, E, C, E, C, E, C, E. Okay. So all of those are methods to help you be thinking through the music. The main goal for me is I just need your fingers to loosen up and start acting independently. When we're done with the first measure, we're going to put a G chord on and we're going to play the exact same thing. Then we're going to put an F chord on and play the exact same thing. Then we're going to go back to G and play the exact same thing. Okay, so first 8 measures, let's play them together, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and oh, oh, 3, oh, oh, oh. Change to your G chord. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Change to your F chord. 1, oh, 1, oh, 1, oh, 1. G chord. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Back to your C chord. G chord. G chord. Pay attention to the last note in this measure. Okay. There's a moment there where you want your index finger to go back because you've been in this pattern, but the sheet music says stop on that high note, change to your C chord. Now at measure 9, you see a little stack of them, 0, 0, 3. So instead of plucking them individually, 0, 0, 3, we're going to pluck them all together. Okay. And notice also in the standard sheet music lineup there on that melody line, we go from 8th notes to quarter notes. So this is going to feel half as fast. Plunk, oh, oh, 3. Now switch to the F chord at measure 10. Plunk, oh, 1, O, measure 11, hit the G7, plunk, O, 2, 1, 2, again, plunk, 2, 1, 2, measure 13. We're going to go to that C chord again and plunk, everybody. Plunk, but now we're going to do middle, index, thumb. Okay, so do that. Plunk, middle, index, thumb, A minor, plunk, O, 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 F chord, plunk, O, 1, O, G7, plunk, O, 2, 1, 2. Measure 17, the pattern changes again. Put your C chord on. Plunk, plunk, O, O, A minor, plunk, plunk, O, O, F chord, plunk, plunk, O, 1, G7, plunk, plunk, 2, 1. Okay, at the end of that measure, there's a repeat. It says go back and play the whole first page again. Okay, so you're going to play the first page twice. Now, let's go on to page 2. Why am my foot pedal running? Oh, let's find out. Yeah, it is. Yay, good. It never worked. All right, so page 2, now this little wiggly sign shows up next to your C chord. So you're holding your C chord. It's another way of playing a C chord. Now we're going to actually use this 4th string, but it says written right above that, and it said written. That means slow down, okay? And let me make sure nobody is done. Okay, that's not important. Let's go a nice C chord down. Okay, that's what that wiggly means. It's a glissando. It means I want these all to sound connected and beautiful and whole, but I want to hear every single string. Okay, then I have a 3, and then I have a 5. Use your pinky. Then back to the 3. Now I'm going to put a G chord on, and I'm going to do a nice glissando with that. And then I'm going to hit the 3. Then I'm going to put an F chord on. Now you realize you're not going to play that first string, so you're going to rest on that string when you get here. Have your F chord on, slide it down. Hit the 1, 3, 0. And then you got a big G7 here. Okay, that's for 4 beats. Don't rush it. Make sure you count all 4 beats in your head. So it'll be strum, 2, 3, 4. Now you got some plain old melody. You don't even need to hold the chord on this measure. O, 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 1. Now you're going to put that G chord back on, play 3 strings, and then lift up your middle finger to get to 0. Measure 27. You have 2 F chords, but you don't play the whole chord, just 3 strings. Hit the 3, hit the 0, and then another great big G7. 2, 3, 4. Measure 29, we're going to go back to your claw position. And guys, as long as you hang around with me, we're going to be talking claw position. That's just you're going to be so sick of thinking the word claw. You're going to hear it in your sleep. We're going to do the plunk again. A tempo, by the way, at measure 20. A tempo means go back to the original tempo. So remember, we slowed it down at measure 21. Now we want to speed it up a little bit. Now, when we're practicing it, we don't necessarily worry about tempo. We worry about it when we're getting ready to play the song. Okay, measure 29, we're going to go plunk, middle, index, thumb, go to the A minor. And guys, it's measure 30. It's all zeros, right? Do you have to hold the A minor? You don't have to. You should, okay? Because if you're holding this, then the ukulele that's going to get the sympathetic vibration that shows up on this string is going to ring as an A rather than a G if you're not holding it down. It'll sound better. Okay, so that you get sympathetic vibrations from your ukulele, and if you're going to have those happen, you want it to be in the correct chord. Okay, and so that's why, yeah, you want to hold the whole chord. Okay, measure 30. Let's play that. Go. Plunk, middle, index, thumb. Grab an F chord. Plunk, middle, index, thumb. Measure 32 at G7. Plunk, middle, index, thumb. C, measure 33, 2 C's, plunk, plunk, thumb, index, A minor, plunk, plunk, thumb, index, F chord, plunk, plunk, O, 1, G7, plunk, plunk, 2, 1, and a big glissando on a C chord to finish up. That's what we're going to play. Now, at home, you are not required to play it at any particular speed. You don't even have to keep the speed steady. You can do whatever you need to do to make it happen. When we're playing together, you want to play with me. This is why you want to get together with other musicians, because at home we do a terrible job with timing. All of us do. It's why nobody likes to play with the pianists, right? Pianists spend their whole life in the basement in a little room, and that's where they live. And then when they finally come out to play with other people, their rhythm is all wonky. And if they haven't been working on some sort of metronome or some type of system, they're going to have a hard time playing with other people. Whereas if you're in a band, you always play with other people. Timing, you know how timing works a lot better. So you can see when you go to the concert, you can sometimes tell if it's a piano concerto whether they like the pianist or not. And so they do. They think she's great. He's great. Whoever, right? But I have her grumbling in the background. I can't keep rhythm, blah blah blah. Right? Okay. When we play together, your job is to keep rhythm. If I play too fast, that's okay. That means that you just need a little more time to work on it. If you're keeping up with me and then you wipe out in a couple of places, then you just have to work out in those couple of places. The other reason playing along with me is a great idea is it's just going to give you a marker of, hey, where am I doing well? Where am I not doing well? And more importantly, when you blow it, you just keep going, right? You blow it, you can't dwell on it. There are no mistakes. It's just you played the jazz version at that moment, and then you just keep moving forward as if it never happened, okay? Because there's no point. It's already over and done with. It's in the history books. You can't fix it at that point, so just keep moving forward. Thank you, Carol. I love this song, too. Okay. I'm kind of partial to all the songs in that book. It turns out the guy who wrote them was okay. All right. Let's play the whole thing top to bottom. Okay. Again, I'm going to play it at whatever speed that I pick, and then your job is to see how you compare. We're going to play the first page twice, then we're going to play the second page once. Okay. Just as written. 1, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, measure 3. Measure 4. Measure 9. The top of the paper. Measure 11. Slow down. How'd we do? Okay, that's a goal, right? If you played that right along with me, you've arrived, right? You are officially a tough uke player. You get all of the pieces and parts. They're taking basic chords, decorating the heck out of them, turning them into sometimes thumb index middle and sometimes middle index thumb, sometimes plucking, sometimes strumming. Guys, that's pretty high level playing, and it's in it. And so I hope that that's coming together for you. Now, what do you do with arpeggios when you sit down to practice? Which you do every single day for 1 minute. You go, Gary says I got to practice. You go get your ukulele, you get your book, you sit down, probably at the kitchen table, right? And the paper's sitting like this. You want to have a music stand. And believe me, it's way easier. If nothing else, this is the kind of thing that I have sitting here with the little, this is a super fancy one, but you can go to Office Depot and just get the thing that holds up your paper when you type it, right? To make it so much easier on your neck, get something like that if you're playing at the kitchen table. You sit down, put your sheet music up, get your ukulele out, get tuned up. That's job one, always, every single time you play, and then play an arpeggio. Okay, just play one. Doesn't matter if you play them well, just play them to get your fingers warmed up, to get the whole process of being an amazing musician together. That gets you in the right mindset. And then you go work on the tough stuff, right? The stuff you're working on. Today, we're going to work on Feelin Groovy, right? And last week, we're working on whatever we were working on. And then at the end of your practice session, go, oh, boy, that hurt. And then you go play 2 or 3 songs that you just love. Right. And that, just so that your brain, when you're done, your brain keeps working on whatever you were working on last. And when you go step away from your music stand. And so you wanted to be working on stuff you love. Right. Yeah. You want to be able to play everything that I'm throwing at you every week. But you really want to be able to play the 2 or 3 songs that you just adore. Ain't She Sweet, 5'2", Moon River. Those are my 3, right? I'm getting to the point where I don't really love them anymore, but they are just part of who I am, and I want to keep them memorized, and so I'll play through all 3 of those real quick just because I just love it. But I do think that overall, if you set your practice schedule up that way, etude, hard stuff I love. Okay. The bulk of your practice will probably be on the hard stuff, your new material that you're working on. But that way you just have this nice, predictable progression in your work time. And some of you can get through all of that in 5 minutes, right? I know how to play key of C major. I'm working on Feelin Groovy. I'm going to play Soft Kitty, and then I'm done for the day. That's 10, 15 minutes, right? Some of you are getting where you're at a higher level and you're like, all right, I'm going to play the etude and then I'm going to go back through and I'm going to play it 6 times because I got to get that thing right. And then you're going to spend an hour on all of the new material. And then you're going to spend, the more complex music that you love, which you do sort of level up over time as to what music you want to play, might take you another 10, 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden you're looking at hour and a half practices, which I don't necessarily recommend for casual ukulele. You're not going to college in this thing. And so so treating it as if it is a piano or a trumpet or something like that, probably not necessarily the smartest way to approach this particular instrument. This one's supposed to be fun. All right. So there's that key of C major. As you know, in the book, there are 29 of those. And I think what I can tell you is my private students who come to me, the more advanced ones, pretty much that's all they'd like to do. Just work on out of that book because it's got all of the high level skill sets. Once they know that they can run all that, they can run any song. And if you're thinking about, yep, I want to dominate ukulele, I want to be the person on ukulele, spend some serious time on those arpeggios. I promise. All of the top players that I know here in the city and a few of them that are not in the city that I work with, that book, I think every last one of them will tell you that book's gonna get you there. And so there you go. Oh, hey, John, good to see you. All right. Feelin Groovy. Oh, by the way, most of you guys were in Summer Institute last night, Global and whatever we're going to call it. I obviously had some time management issues, and we got to that thing about notes, keys, and chords. I did not have time to talk about it very seriously last night, but we are going to talk about it next Monday night as well. Those are concepts that are they're not critical to you as a ukulele player. If you never figured it out, you'd probably be all right. But if you understand them, you understand music. And then when you understand music, you can play ukulele at just this more knowledgeable level where you're able to create things, either transposing them, arranging them, composing them. You're going to be able to help other people because you understand music. And so I'm going to put that back on the agenda for next Monday night. So if you're like, got to the end, you're like, I don't know, there's this paper with these notes on it. I don't know what we're supposed to do with them. You shouldn't. Okay. I blew it, ran out of time. So next week I will know to arrange things just a little bit different. Okay. What order for the arpeggios? Karen asked, and that's an important question. In the arpeggio book, the Jumping Flea Arpeggiator, go to the very last page, page 62, and it has a suggested learning sequence, and that's the order that you want to go down them in. This summer, as we're going through Summer Institute, that's the order we will follow. So the book is set up by circle of fifths, and so it goes major, minor, major, minor, major, minor, major, minor, major, minor, which on ukulele, for the most part, is going to make sense. The problem is some of the minors are are a skill set that's suddenly quite a bit harder than the major key before it, and so you want to follow that list on the very last page of the book, and it says suggested learning sequence, and that's the order I will follow. Once you get through the first 10 or so, then the other 20 are just more pain, right? So that doesn't, because we don't really play in those keys in ukulele. We don't really play in C sharp. We don't really play in B minor. And so A sharp minor, that's my favorite one. Nobody plays in that. But the first 10 in that suggested learning sequence, you are for sure going to play in those keys. And so those are the important ones. Okay. Let's see. The key order in the book is alpha order. I'm thinking for utility learning the chords. Yeah. Don't follow the book page. Don't just turn the book pages, because you'll end up in doing harder stuff before easier stuff. All right. Feeling groovy. This turns out that there's going to be, this is one of these songs where, depending on how you play it, is going to depend on what your final result is. If you want to feel groovy, if you want it to feel like, slow down, you move too fast, you got to make the morning last. If you want that feeling groovy, you're probably going to be playing the melody, and you're going to go find a friend to play the chords. Here's what's kind of fun about these chords, which I did not know until last night. 3-chord song, right? G chord, D chord, E minor chord, over and over and over and over and over. And that's it. That's all it is. So you can teach anybody those 3 chords. They're a little bit harder chords. G, D, E minor. Okay? And they're just going to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And I think that, the original was in E flat. Okay, so you're welcome. I didn't leave it in that because it gets really messy. A lot of times when you go to a song that you want to play and you're like, E flat, what the heck is that? You know, and there's all these other chords that you don't necessarily play on ukulele. A lot of times that will be because of the singers involved. So those 2 guys, Simon and Garfunkel, they knew a little bit about singing, and so they could kind of choose which keys were going to match their voices the prettiest, and which ones were going to make the song come alive and get what they wanted to. And then Paul, of course, has a capo, and so he's going to capo his guitar wherever he needs to, and then play in whatever the easier key is that he's going to that's easier for him on guitar. And that's not to say Paul Simon can't play the guitar, because he can, but you don't when you're a singer. Yeah, I can play this thing. Sting can play this thing, but he doesn't when he's singing. He's going to put a capo on and make his life a little easier. And so a lot of times you'll find a song you just love, and then you pull it up on the internet, and it's in this weird wonky key, and you're like, oh, I hate that, right? So over time, hopefully over this summer, we'll start to, as we're studying the circle of fifths, you guys will get in the sense of, here's a crummy key. I just use my circle of fifths, rotate it around into a ukulele friendly key, and then I'm going to be able to play it a lot more conveniently. And you are not beholden to the original composer to play in that key on this instrument. Okay, on this instrument, we got to play it in such a way that it's actually fun and enjoyable to play. And so we almost always switch it into a ukulele friendly key. E flat, beautiful, but it's not very ukulele friendly. Okay, This song is in basically three. It's one time through. There's no repeats. How often do we get a song like that? T- well, there's basically three sections. A little bit of an intro. The intro, I went and listened to the original recording of those guys, and they have these beautiful harmonies, and they just do all this beautiful stuff. And so that's the first thing you do, is you can throw that out, because that's not going to work with this instrument. But we'll find a nice little sort of introductory doodly doos to get in there. That's your intro. Then the song goes, the main verse, slow down, you move too fast. They do that basically twice, because slow down, you move too fast, and then hello lamppost, what you knowin'. That's sort of a second A section, and the melody's a tiny bit different. And then the third section, am I on 4 or 3? Fourth section starts there at 24, and what's fascinating is got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. And then you got all these triplets in a row. Dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep. Let the morning time drop all of its petals on me. So we're going to press through that section with a lot of emphasis. Those three triplets really speed you through that little section there. And then the final section, Life I Love You, All Is Groovy. And then there's a bunch of chords at the end. What's another fascinating thing about this song is it's in G. The song is in G, but we end up in D, and I tried like heck to end the song on a G chord, because you're supposed to, and it doesn't sound right. So somehow, as you get into the ending of the song, it sort of morphs a little bit into the feeling of a D major, the D major key feeling. And so we end on a D, start on a G, end on a D. Not particularly typical in music. All right, let's talk about the intro. This is one of those things where you see 2-2-0-2-3-0-2, and you're like, oh, I can play that. But then you got to look up at the sheet music up there to make sure that it's making some sense. So I've been starting with a G chord. Oops, let me do it again. 2-2-2-2-2-0-2-3-0-2-2. Let me try it again. 2-2-0-2-2-0-2-3-0. 2. Okay, so it's just a little bit of a figure, and measures 3 and 4 are identical. Okay, so we won't spend a ton of time on this. On Friday, we'll probably dig into a little for the concert, but just go listen to the MP3. I think is probably the easiest way if you're trying to get it exactly right. Do 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 do. Okay. That's just a little doodly-doo to get you started. Then we're going to go into the main idea. So let's talk about the 3 chords you're going to be playing. You're going to be playing a ton of G, okay? And then you're going to go every time after a G, you're going to go to a D. Every time after a D, you're going to go to an E minor, and then you're always going to go back to a D. And then you're going to start the whole idea again. G, D, E minor, D, G, D, E minor, D, G, D, E minor, G, D, D. Okay, so that's what you're going to work on. I'm going to try to sing it now. Not Simon and Garfunkel. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow down. You move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking on down the cobblestone, looking for fun and feeling groovy. And then some chords. E minor, D, back to singing. Hello lamppost, what you knowin'? I've come to watch your flowers growing. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Do-do-do, feeling groovy. G chord, D chord, E minor, D. Got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you. All is groovy. Then we're going to play some chords out. D, G chord, D chord, E minor, D, G chord, D chord, E minor, and D. You can put a G chord on the end if you want, but it sounds cooler if you don't. And let that fifth just ring out like that. So if you want, if it sounds better to you, write a G chord in at the end and finish on G, but it just sounds better if you're on D. Now, obviously I can't sing it all, but you saw when we got to 27 and all of those triplets, dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep, let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Prior to that, we're probably doing 2 strums of each one, right? Slow down, you move too fast. So you're probably doing 2 strums on each of those chords, maybe, okay? And when you get to the triplets, you're probably going to do 1 strum on each chord because you've got triplet notes in there, and the rhythm will end up feeling really wonky if you try to get 2 strums in there while you're singing a triplet. They don't line up properly, and so your second strum happens in this weird spot that's not related to how you're singing. And so a lot of you guys have come from that background where you're singing and strumming, and you know what happens when you start to get away from a nice steady strum. Your voice starts getting not sure where it's supposed to be, and so that's why when you are strumming, you want to be very clear where the beats are, and regardless of what's happening. Irregardless, that's not a word. Regardless of what happens with the melody, you're keeping your beat. And when you get to 27, it's very hard to keep 2 strums in each of those. So just do 1 G, 1 D, 1 E minor, 1 D, and then push through with your singing to get all of that, the urgency of that one little section through there. Okay, now here we go. Okay, let's see if we can play some melody. I want to just start at measure 5. Okay, and for those of you guys that are working on this is a big deal. If you decided, hey, I like this song, I'm going to go play it for my ukulele group, you probably want to have one person on melody and the other person on chords, right? So it's going to make a lovely duet. It's going to have that snappy, happy feeling to it, because it turns out when we go to the tough uke, it sounds kind of sad. Okay, all right. So let's play the melody. How are we doing on time? We're in good shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. Sorry, 9, 5. That's what I kept blowing at home, right? 9, 5. So take a minute. Make sure you know 9 is right above the 10th fret. The 10th fret on your ukulele almost certainly has a dot on it. Okay. The only ones that don't are the professional versions. They don't put a dot on 10. But on you want to make sure you got bum bum right in your pinky. That's the highest note in the song. Dun dun. That's going to come up. Okay. Now notice. Here's where things are a bummer if you're a melody player, because feeling groovy, and that's just going to go on forever. If I was being a little bit more specific about the singing line, if I cared about the singing line, I wouldn't have put 1, 2, 3, 4 half notes in there. It's not. You're not going to sing it as feeling groovy. You're not going to do that, right? I actually have a few musicians, at least one musician I know who would do that, just to point out that I hadn't notated it very well. But as the melody player, yeah, 5, you're going to hold that until it's time to play again, or until your ukulele stops saying something, which it'll stop saying something within 4 beats. Okay, so then you can get ready for measure 15. Let's go from 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. Where's my 9? Blew it again. Okay, there's the 5. Okay, so those two sections are pretty straightforward. And if you're not Gary, not 9, 5 shouldn't be a major problem for me. I have not gotten it right yet. I've played this song now 50 times and I missed 9 to 5 every single time. 9, 5, probably because it sounds like a job and I don't like those. All right, measure 25. We're going to do the pickup. Got no deeds to do. Got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. Okay, got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. Okay, and then we're going to go into that. When we get to that, not 975, 975, 975, 975. Just practice that. Just a minute. 975. And so I'm probably going to be in 5th position, of course, with my pinky on 9. Okay. And that comes up twice in the song, basically, the 975 routine. All right, so from 23, the pickup to 23, I'll count in 3, and then we'll see how we do. 1, 2, 3. Me, and then you survive that tough section. Okay, the triplets, if we can get them right, they sound so awesome. Triplets are one of the coolest things as a musician, especially an instrumental musician, when we get to go in and they're fast. They're not 8th notes, but they're fast, and you're just like bam, 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 bam. So it's kind of hard to play, but you can do it. Let's go to 25 again. Got no deeds to do, and see if we can get it. See if Gary can get a little better from 25. 1, 2, 3. That's what you got to do. Okay, super fun if you can pull it off. I love that section. Okay, and then 31 to the end is the sort of the final section. Life, I love you, all is groovy. Okay, so we'll do we'll count in 4. We'll do that little rest, and then life, I love you. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. And then you're going to go into those chords. 1, G, D, E minor, D, G, D, E minor, D. And that's where I'm adding in a bar chord there, the 555, or I'm sorry, 2225. Okay. And I'm giving that as my ending. You can also just do a regular D there if you want. And get a little bit weirder sound. And then, of course, if that's just not computing in your head, which it didn't compute in mine for a long time, then you can wrap up with a G on the end. It just doesn't. This doesn't. I even tried this D. Okay, you can put the 77710 G on the end if you feel like it's gonna make you happy or make your body not freak out at the weird ending on this. Okay, all right. Let's play. How are we doing on time? That's your melody work for home. Okay, so at home, I would be spending a little time. If you're a melody player, or if you have a friend who's also a ukulele player, or you're working on melody, they're working on chords, you're going to end up with a really nice thing, and it's going to sound beautiful. And the syncopation, yeah, right? It's Joyce is talking about sit-um, ba-dum, bum-bum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum, bum-bum. So it sounds like a galloping horse a little bit if you get it right. And a lot of times when we take syncopation, we throw it on sheet music, it ends up sounding kind of stilted. You're supposed to know as a musician, I'm trying to get a little bit of lilt into that, a little bit of rolling feel to it, like I'm riding a galloping horse. Da-da-da, 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 and get that in there. Now, let's get rid of that altogether, and let's go talk about Tough Uke, okay? I want to just walk through all the moments and stuff and decisions I made. I think that they all work pretty well, and I think you'll end up, if you're looking for a song that's, makes you happy and still quite a bit of work, This is the one it is, okay? So let's go straight to measure 5. You're going to do that. You're going to work on that little intro thing, and then you go to measure 5, and it's pretty consistently throughout, there's a rest on the first beat, right? So what you do in those situations as an instrumental musician is you're not going to rest on the first beat. You're going to toss in a chord, okay? The reason we do that is singers know if they come in a tiny bit late and you've already hit the chord, their voice is going to be a lot better anchored into that spot. And so sometimes singers will do that on purpose. Sometimes it's written in there, but that's the chord, and now the singer has a much higher likelihood of hitting the exact right note at the exact right time if they come in a little bit late. The other thing singers will do is once they're into the song, and this happens in this song particularly, is they will come in a little early before the chord, and it creates this beautiful sort of uptick into the new chord. And for the most part, as an instrumentalist, we take that stuff out because we want the chord to match up with what the melody's doing. But singers can help that out a little bit by starting a little early and pulling that up in there. And when I typed this in initially, I include all that stuff in, and then I figure out how much of it can we actually play, and some of it has to go because Simon and Garfunkel are better singers than I am as a ukulele player. Okay, and so some of their cool stuff has to go. All right, let's get our G chord on. I'm going to walk through it all real quick. Start with your G chord, 3 strings, and then 2 D. Slow down, hit the 2. You, and then you're going to go to your E minor. Get used to that motion, Rich, that you're hanging out on this D chord. Boom, you got to get over to your E minor. And I would say throughout this, you're going to probably grab the entire E minor chord, even if you're only going to play one or two strings of it. So pretty much that chord is going to end up being there. I did talk to you guys there. If you hold a G chord and you add your pinky on here, you automatically get an E minor, but I'm not positive that that's going to be very helpful on this song because you're typically coming out of a D chord to get to the E minor, and so I'm not sure that is going to be even faster for you. Okay, so probably that's the shape you want for your E minor. Okay, measure 6. You move too fast. Go to your G chord. You got to D chord, make the E chord, E minor, sorry. Leave your index finger off. Morning, and then a D chord bar, 2 2 2 2 5. Last, because that's this melody is up there. Last, open it up, just hit the chord, kick and D chord down the E minor again. Don't play the first string. Open it up, boom, and then D chord, stone, G chord, strum, looking for D chord, fun, and E minor, no first string, feelin', and then this is the challenging part, 9, groove, back, and you're going to do 9, and here's something that's going to be fun. Drag it back to 5. Add your bar. Groovy. Okay. Can you hear that? So that's what we're trying to hopefully get in there, right? It'll sound cool. Okay. Once you hit that D chord at the end of 12, then just immediately go into your little chord run. Go into measure 15. Hello, lamppost, E minor. What D chord? Know when? G chord. I've come to.
According to Wikipedia, G major is a major scale based on G, with the pitches.
Google wants me to know what a G major chord is all of a sudden. This automatic world we live in. All right, I want to go to 17. Sorry, Google messed you up. All right, from 17, go. I've come to watch your E minor, flowers, D chord with a bar, go, and G chord at tone 19. Ain't you got no, and then rhymes for me. Okay, G chord. Do, do, do. Okay, now pinky's way up there. Leave your pinky on the 5. Add your E minor. Come on, pinky. Feelin. Go up to your 9. Groove, and then all the way back. Bing. So this is that chance you got to slide your. We don't often have a chance on electric guitar. Slides, bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs. We do those all the time. Super fun. Ukulele, they don't sound that great, so I don't emphasize them a lot. But this is one of those chances where you can kind of get it. Feelin', groovy. Okay, go directly into your 2 chords there. 4 chords. D chord, got, and then this is where the energy comes into the song. No need to do, no, E minor, promises to keep, and then you got 7, 7, 9. This is a tough section here. Doubled. You're going to use your pinky on 10. Notice the melody's 5, but it's way down here, and you got to come right back up. So rather than chasing this 5 down here on the first string, I moved it up to 10 on the second string. Then you can just move your pinky around. Now it's a little bit of a workout for your pinky. Okay, so let's start at 27 again. 7, 7, 7, 9. Dappled and drowsy and then you're going to jump down to E minor. Add the 5. Ready to sleep. There's a D chord. Sleep. 3. Let the G chord. Morning time. D chord with your pinky. Drop. Open all the. You gotta have 7, 7, 9. Petals. Go back to your 5. On and then the D chord. Me. G chord, life, I, D chord, love you, E minor, all is, this is a bar on 9, F shape in front, groove, G chord, pinky, V, and then D chord, E minor, D, G, D, E minor, D, G minor, D, E minor, D. If you are performing this for your ukulele group or Red Rocks or the Pepsi, the Staples Center, wherever you're performing, you'll decide how many of those chords at the end you need to do. You could probably just stop with Feelin' Groovy. D chord, probably. The one thing I did is when I went and listened to their original, several of their recordings on YouTube, they're very duties. You guys know this about them. They will put in a lot of these la 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 stuff. And as an instrumental, and especially as a solo instrumentalist, you start thinking, is that going to work for me? And it's probably not. And so a lot of times that stuff just goes. Okay. And so in this case, it did. Most of it went. You're trying to get Feelin' Groovy out of your ukulele, not necessarily sing it the exact same way Simon & Garfunkel did it. And so hopefully that is making some sense to you. Let's see. What else? All right. So on Friday, we will play this thing straight through, and hopefully we will. So I would suggest whatever level you're working at, if you're on chords, if you're on melody, if you're on tough uke, spend a little bit of time on this one. The fingering is not automatic. It definitely is going to require a little bit of thinking through. And tomorrow we tackle, what do we tackle tomorrow? Don't Worry, Be Happy. That's another song that you're going to run into in all the ukulele strum alongs. We'll turn it into an instrumental piece and make it a little bit more formal and official. And then on Friday or Thursday, we have the piece from Life of Brian, the Eric Idle piece. A super cute little song. Always look on the bright side of the song. I'm typing those up to this afternoon, so I'll hopefully get them both on tonight. Hopefully, you never know. And then Friday, of course, the concert. Those of you who are newer and just checking in on this stuff, hopefully it's making some sense. And if you're completely out to sea, let me know. But I think, again, whatever level you're working at, get comfy with that, and then always be pushing just a little bit. You do not have to play tough uke on everything. You don't. It's crazy that I do. Okay, so find yourself a comfy place and be there. All right, that's Simon and Garfunkel. Probably next week we might have a Simon and Garfunkel week. I went through my computer and sort of rounded up all of this stuff, and I think we might just do a Simon and Garfunkel week. So you'll have probably 2 weeks on this guy, along with Bridge Over Troubled Water, which we did earlier this summer. I've got Sound of Silence, but I have the Demented. There's a heavy metal rock band out there that did it. They did it better than Simon and Garfunkel, actually. So I have their version set up for Sound of Silence and Scarborough Fair. So if there's other, there's only 2 other Simon and Garfunkel songs that I'd probably look at to putting together. So, but we'll probably have a Simon and Garfunkel week next week. So don't let this one go, right? We'll work on this one. It's going to come together. Okay, guys, that's enough for today. Hope you had a wonderful day. Hope you're staying inside. It's everything that I read says you should stay inside and not go to the restaurants. But no, don't live your life. Stay home. That's what we're trying to work on here. And you got a ukulele and you got unbelievable amounts of music, so keep playing that, and that's the way to go. All right, have a great afternoon, guys. Renee, thanks so much. Gary, I'm beginning to have a light bulb moments with the placement. Yeah, right. The more we do this, suddenly you just a repetition, your fingers start being where they need to be, just like, oh yeah, that makes some sense. And so in the beginning we're very inefficient. The more you play, the more efficient you get. The less you do with your left hand, the better, right? Be lazy with your left hand. Try to find smart ways to put your fingers on. That's a great comment, Renee. I'm delighted to hear that's coming through there. Phew. Lindy's always like, ooh. All right, thanks, Lindy. Diane came in late, but got all the Feelin Groovy fun. Diane, you're your era, baby. Glad you got it. A Dolly Parton week. That's a tremendous idea. I am in love with Dolly Parton. I want to have her babies. That's absolutely. Let's do a Dolly Parton week. Great idea. Gail, see you soon, Gail. Thanks for being here. Lynn, where did I go? All right, I don't know. Lynn, I don't know what I guess they did. Yes, they did. Kat, good to see you. Have a great day. Terry, good to see you. Phyllis, have a great night. Francis was here. How exciting. Good to see you, Francis. Joyce, see you tomorrow. Carol, yeah, it's a good song. It's a fun song. It's not the most popular, right? But it makes you feel happy. Barbara, have a great day. Melissa, good to see you, dude. Patty is hanging out with Tom. See you guys. Cindy, tomorrow. Elizabeth. Hey, it'll get groovier the more you work on it. And when you first start, it sounds like a funeral dirge. Da, 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 dun, 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 dun. So you got to get a little faster, right? Lynn, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Brandon, buddy, take care of yourselves. Jacqueline, good to see you. Linda, feeling groovy. This song is an earworm. It'll get in there and you won't be able to get it out. I'm warning you. Lanny, have a good day. See you tomorrow, buddy. Chris, Chris, I got your email. I'm going to get it back to you. Okay. I think we can probably work something out on that. Right. You sounded very manly. Sounding manly and being manly are probably 2 different things, Red. So don't worry about it, no matter how manly I sound. I'm a big girl on the inside. All right, John, I know the Boxer is a beautiful piece. It's one of those that I think I might put together. Linda, I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's got this sort of strange message to it that I'm not positive I'm all on board with, but I'll look at it a little more seriously. Linda, all right, I got 3 votes for the Boxer. Let me see what I can come up with. All right, fine, you guys. All right, have a great night. I'm going to end the stream. Be good.